right, babies. It's that time again. Oh, yeah. We are in Revelation 6. And there we have all the fun of the seals being broken. Not a big fan of these passages. Why? They just don't sound like the merciful Jesus I know. They sound a lot like the God that was created in the Old Testament to make people feel good, that they had an ultimate power and authority, ready, willing, and committed to wreak vengeance on anyone who messed with God's chosen people. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, honeys. And I'm not a fan of that idea. I don't think that works for anyone. So why do I bother even reading Revelation if that's the case? Well, because I respect the fact that God, throughout history, appears to bless those who take His word to be eternally true. And so as I read the Bible, I want to make sure I'm gleaning from it what is useful and what is eternal. And if it means it's only a few verses in a given chapter, then that's what I'm going to do. In case you're wondering why I even bother with a book like the Book of Revelation, that's why. So in this case, there's some things in there that are useful, like the reference to the martyrs' saints, the martyrs' prayers. And they're looking to a God who I don't believe exists to exact final judgment on those who killed them. When in my mind, if you are a martyr for the Lord and you gave your life willingly so that people would have the evidence of His kingdom being birthed in this realm, then you would have mercy in your heart, soul, spirit. So why do I think it's useful? I think it just any references to martyrdom I think is useful because of Jesus' sacrifice. I came across a teaching this past week where John Dominic Crossan was looking at Jesus' sacrifice as a witness against the escalatory violence of the world. In other words, all through the Bible and all through history, we have violence escalating at an exponential rate. And primarily reflecting the futility of humanity in addressing the problem of sin in the world, that being selfishness, etc. The only pattern that seems to be there is this pattern of punishing sin or fighting enemies. And that whole violent cycle is still operative today. Right? We have wars and violence and strife and conflict, and there's still half of the people of the world, I will say, or at least half of this nation, think the solution is greater violence. And so in Crossan's view, Jesus submits to that violence as a sign against its powerlessness. And then by his resurrection and life-changing spirit after his death, it confirms his position that the only way to stand true in the kingdom of God is in a non-violent position. So that's one view of the cross. Others are, that Jesus is saving us from hell by taking the punishment that is due us. He took it upon himself to suffer. I personally look at it more along the lines of what Crossan was saying, as well as giving us an indefatigable vision of the extent of God's commitment to us, is that nothing could get in the way of his love for us. And Jesus' sacrifice reflects that. And of course we have the blood covenant in the Old Testament and the washing away of sins, not to save us from hell, which I don't believe exists, but to save us from ourselves and give us access to God if we accept the gift of his Son. So things like that are in Revelation. So I think it's useful. It's useful to meditate on them, pray to God about how to apply it to our lives. Let's see, what else was in there? Revelation 6, other than the nasty, there's so much nastiness in there. It's just like, God, causes people to like kill each other or whatever. It's like, what? Shame on anyone who believes that nonsense. Especially since the advent of Jesus, right? We've been given Jesus, so we know that life is not what it seems. And the true joy and purpose in life is found in the obscure places, secret places, where we discover not only the power of faith, but the power of the knowledge of the spiritual realm that Jesus informs us of by way of his Spirit. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah.